Yes, we're actually in front of the apartment building where this happened. Police tape's still up. They're still processing the scene. Those three tiny bodies are still in that apartment. They are allowing some people, some of the neighbors, people who knew them, to drop flowers and some toys. It's unthinkable, but the mother of these three children who were found dead this morning by their grandmother, her name is Liliana Carrillo, the mother, 30-year-old. She is in custody, and investigators are telling us that they believe she is the one and only suspect in this case. Now, as you said, we have been able to reach out to family members. The father of these three children, his name is Eric Denton. They actually have a GoFundMe, and they are allowing us to use the photographs. We also talked to his cousin. She explains to us that they had been going through a difficult divorce situation, but that they had reached out to try to get help for her. It's such a tragic story. Listen to this.
He's still completely in shock and he's devastated. He was planning on picking up the kids tomorrow and taking them to buy fish for their new fish tank. And he's heartbroken. I mean, Liliana was very sick, and she was not herself. And it's been going on for several months that she has been unwell. And he's been actively doing everything possible through the, Child Protective Services, through the LAPD to, one, get Liliana help, and two, get his children safely home, because she left with the kids at the end of February. So he actually had emergency custody orders of the children since March 4th. He did everything that he could think of to get his kids back home safely and to get her help too, because he still loved her, but she was just not herself. So he's also frustrated with the system because the system failed them. The system failed these kids.
DCFS was one of the agencies that responded here today. They would not talk to us on camera. What happened? Again, she was captured up in Tulare County. Let's go now to the beginning of the day and the people who knew them and can fill us in. Listen.
I never in my wildest dreams imagined that it was the little ones.
Lupe Cuevas, referring to the little children that wanted to play with her small dog, Rosie, at the Royal Villa Apartments. The same children investigators say were found by their grandmother, seemingly stabbed to death.
The ages that I know are 3, 2, and 6 months or so.
The suspect, their own mother, 30-year-old Liliana Carrillo, who was arrested in Northern California after supposedly carjacking a vehicle.
She was caught in the vehicle that she had taken from another individual during her flee from this location.
Neighbors telling us they usually saw the children with grandma.
It's the little girl that is that I have in my mind as
because
the sweetest little one, because she wanted to bang Rosie, and she was so sweet, and she listened to her grandma.
You saw the kids with grandma. Did you ever see them with mom?
No, because
no one ever saw the father in the small first-floor apartment.
TV would be on, and the cartoons. They'd be cartoons all the time.
Did you get a sense that there was any trouble in the family?
No.
You'd like to think that the person couldn't have been aware of what they were doing.
Forensic psychiatrist Dr. Carol Lieberman says Carrillo's alleged crime is particularly disturbing.
Especially in this case, again, allegedly, because stabbing children, that is a very intimate crime, because stabbing them, you feel the knife going into them, these little children that you gave birth to, that you love.
And again, investigators are still over 12 hours later in that apartment going through what happened here and why. I have a feeling we're going to be hearing a lot more about this. We're going to put all the information for the GoFundMe for Mr. Denton, and as more as we find out about this case, which is developing as I speak, and you'll find all that at foxla.com. I'll make sure to put that there tonight. I'm Christina Gonzalez. Tragic, tragic night out here in Reseda. Back to you guys in the studio.
Christina, quite the interview with is it the cousin of Eric Denton?
The cousin.
What more did you learn from her in that interview that perhaps you were not able to share?
Well, I mean, it seems that the children are all, they loved each other. But according to her and according to some of the people here in the apartment building, now it's beginning to make sense, she had been having issues for some time. And that's why grandma was involved with taking care of the kids. She had been hearing some voices. There had been some ongoing things. They had been accusing each other back and forth. It was a messy, messy custody battle. But they had both gone repeatedly to authorities asking for help. And she had and he had. So this was not a new case to them. There were allegations of abuse and all kinds of things that I don't want to get into because, again, you don't want to wait to see what DCFS tells us. Again, they've been here today. They would not talk to us. But according to the family, they have been involved in this case for a while. And I have a feeling we're going to be hearing from attorneys because he supposedly had emergency custody back in March, but it was one of those that got lost through the system. And people were saying, we need help. But I'm sure we'll find out more in the next few days. The bottom line is there's 3 little bodies in a scene that is so horrible. I will tell you that the police officers I talked to who first got here, they're all getting counseling. It's just horrible for everybody. But yes, it's an ongoing dispute with people, accusing people of all kinds of things and obvious mental health issues that somehow got lost in the shuffle, and this is the result, sadly.
Just a tragedy.